going to cover something that I've kind of talked a little bit around, but I guess probably the biggest thing is to give more context around the idea of client acquisition, how this relates to business owners, how this relates to you in the market, but more importantly, what it takes to get this done. So hopefully somewhere in the lives you're actually seeing this. There's a few people going to be jumping on this call with me. I just thought I would go live with this idea of client acquisition. So let's talk about acquiring customers. One of the things, and I guess the strategy I'm going to be sharing with is what I call a simple napkin presentation. And back in the day when we had sales calls, or we would have conversations with people and share ideas, oftentimes people would pull out a napkin and draw some diagrams and demonstrate either an idea or a knowledge or to map out something for someone. It's a very intimate thing to do, to draw things. So one of the things that I will share with you is a very simple. I'm not an artiste in any shape, form, or fashion, but for those of you who are artists, you probably do this better than I do. But I know that by doing this, you dramatically improve a couple of things. Number one, you improve the rapport with the person you're speaking to, because it's a very collaborative process that you're working with. So the idea is you kind of got to understand where businesses are at, some of the challenges, some of the frustrations and the problems that they're facing. And to be able to do this as a presentation, you have to apply this particular concept. So I know it's Sunday in the world for my American cousins. It's very late in the evening for my UK cousins, and it's actually kind of 11 o'clock on a 10 a.m. on a g'day. How are you doing? It's 10 a.m. on the east coast of Australia, where I'm in Brisbane, 11 o'clock in Sydney. Richard, good to see you here, joining us in this very intimate situation. But so the purpose of today, I just wanted to share this, and I literally posted this an hour ago. So however many people show up, that's awesome. For those who don't show up and say, hey, where did it happen? It already happens. So anyway, so I appreciate you guys hopping on here. But the whole concept here is the concept of acquiring customers for whatever service that you provide into the marketplace. So if you're providing SEO or Facebook ads or AdWords campaigns, or you're providing lead management or CRM, sales automation, sales copy, email marketing, web development, app development, whatever service that you're providing in the digital marketing space, you can use this concept that I'm going to share today to close deals. Like, I know that if I can walk somebody through this napkin type situation, then I've got a pretty good chance of closing a deal. In fact, I'd say the conversion rate sits around 50% plus. So for every 2 to 4 people I show, you'll pick up 1 to 2 clients, right? Using this methodology. It's a very intimate way to demonstrate what you do with people. It puts away the things like you having to prepare slides. You kind of got to know what it is that you deliver to the market when you're using this type of strategy. So you're already aware of the problems that you're solving. You're aware of the outcomes that you can deliver. You're aware of perhaps more importantly the impact of what you do that has on a business, right? You understand the impact of that and what that has on a business. Johnny O'Dell, good to see you here, my friend. As always showing up, which is good to see. So what I want to do is I want to kind of give context to this simple napkin sales process, right? And the context is from the client's perspective, right? What are their issues when it comes to either hiring us, or what brings them to the problems that they're facing in their business that would make them start to ask questions about what we do in the marketplace. So the biggest thing is, if we broke a business into 3 pieces, right? The number one piece in any business is, what is it doing to acquire new customers? That's the number one piece, right? The second piece is what are they selling? Where is their energy and their focus in terms of what they're offering to the market and what they're actually selling? Because sometimes companies are selling unprofitable things, right? Sometimes companies are selling the wrong thing, right? Or they tend to sell what's easy, right? Natural tendency for human beings is the path to least resistance. So we're going to sell what's easy. That doesn't mean that what we sell is profitable, right? So we need to understand from a business point of view, how they go about acquiring customers and where some of the challenges are in acquiring those customers. Is the challenge in the fact that they're not generating enough revenue or profit per customer? Is the challenge in they're just not getting enough clients in the door and they need more? They want to actually grow, so they want to build, and they know they're in business, so they've got they've got bills to pay. So are they reactive to the marketplace? Do they have a plan? And the majority of businesses don't have a plan. So one of the things in this napkin strategy is that you're actually demonstrating a simple plan that focuses on solving a problem, allowing somebody to understand what it looks like to actually fix that problem, and then connecting with the outcome, right? So understanding the problem, understanding how to fix that problem, like actually having something that's going to solve it. And then the other thing is, well, if we solve it, what's the outcome, right? What is going to be the result of what we do? I'm going to walk you through an actual, how I would do it with somebody. And so this way, it just makes it easy. Like I've had conversations like this with lots of people. And one of the cool things of doing this type of sales pitch without actually preparing slides and all that sort of stuff is the fact that it is very intimate. It's a very, very, I guess, friendly and acknowledging way to have a discussion with somebody where you open up to numerous questions that you can ask and also get a lot of input and feedback as you go through this process. It's almost like fine-tuning the what ifs, right? So we know what's important, we know why it's important, but what if we could actually do the things that we say that we actually want to do in this process? So what we're doing is we're talking to business owners as a business person. We're talking to business owners as a business person. We're not sitting there trying to pitch and sell. What we're trying to do is demonstrate an understanding of what happens when something's not working, what happens when we actually identify what needs to happen to fix, and then what happens if it is fixed. What is the impact of that, and how do we extrapolate that? And at the end of that demonstration, we're literally asking, well, it's all very good. We've got the idea, we've got the process, we've got the impact and outcome. What do we do with this thing that we've just demonstrated, right? What is the choice that we're going to make with this thing that we've just put in front of you? And that's the part that a lot of people forget. There's a disconnect. Like I show you some cool stuff and I show you how we can help you get results and get you sales and do all that sort of stuff. But the part that's missing is the piece that connects that idea to, well, let's implement it together, right? That's the piece that's missing in a lot of presentations. That's where there is a sense of reluctance to actually apply this philosophy, apply this strategy. So what I'm going to share is the exact close that where you take somebody from the idea of going, hey, there's a problem. Hey, to fix this, right? Because right now, what's the problem costing you? To fix this problem, this is what's got to happen to make it work. And then if we made it work, what is the impact? What is the outcome? What are the tangibles that occur from implementing this idea? Now, because we know we have a result here, the next question is, well, do you want to put this in place? Like when should we fixing the problem? When should we actually acting upon this? Is this something you want to, we've just wasted a whole bunch of time talking about something that's relevant and you're not interested in doing it? Or do you actually want to do this, right? So you're walking people through to like, well, the next tangible thing is, let's get some help, right? Because right now, what's stopping you from doing this? The skills, the knowledge, the understanding, right? The manpower. All these things will stop you from implementing an idea that's going to have a positive impact on your business. So that's why you hire people like me, right, in this process. So I'm going to walk you through a conversation, a general conversation that walks this idea from the problem to an outcome, right? How you can use a napkin to diagram to draw this out, so you can physically, tactically draw this out. When you draw, people pay attention. When you do, and it's very different. Like there's no pre-prepared slide deck. There's no, you just know this piece in the puzzle. So it's almost like if you were scribbling ideas on a page, what would that look like, right? So by the way, I want to apologize for my graphic art capabilities. I'm not a very good drawer, right? So I'm going to tell you in advance, a lot of my writing and a lot of my drawings, it looked like I should have been a physician, not a business development or marketing person, right? So I'll pre-warn you as to what it looks like. So I'll make sure that I articulate every piece in this puzzle so that it works, right? Now, at the end of this training, I'm going to invite you to something to join me with in the next few days. We're holding an event, and that event is a 2-day event. We're raising some money for some charities. I've created an enormous amount of value for those 2 days. Some people actually have already bought tickets to it, but I will share that at the end of this. But my main priority and goal for you here is to show you a really easy, simple way to convert sales without getting too technical and without getting too above people's heads. So making it very simple in the process. So I'm going to share my iPad, right? I'm going to share my iPad here with you on the screen, and hopefully this is going to work. The technology is going to be in our favor. So you should see this thing that says client acquisition. This is my iPad. Just give me a thumbs up, Howard or Johnny, if you can see my iPad on your screen. You got it? All right. So I'm going to make sure that we pin the spotlight that for everybody. All right. So essentially, if I was to do this, stretch it out a little bit. Essentially, we're talking about client acquisition. We're talking to business owners who are looking to engage or generate clients, right? So oftentimes, businesses I know, just don't have a real plan. They haven't really thought it through. They haven't set things like targets, right? They don't have targets. They don't have things like KPIs for the client acquisition part of their business. They don't actually have a plan, right? They have no plan to do it, right? These are the things that they don't have, right? These are the don't haves, right? So if I've got no targets, I'm aiming for nothing. If I don't have any KPIs, I don't have any metrics that I can measure, right? So no measurement, right? No measurement. If I don't have a plan, no focus, right? No outcome. Right? Don't have a plan. So these are 3 things that if I don't have these things, if I don't set these objectives around my acquiring of customers, if I don't have some metrics or measurements along the way so that I can monitor the process and improve and get better, and if I don't have a plan, I've kind of got no outcome. So what am I doing? What most businesses do is most businesses operate like a promotion. Okay, most businesses run their business as a promotion business. What that means is, for periodically, when they need to go and acquire clients, they knee-jerk reaction start a promotion. Hey, we need to do some Facebook advertising. Great, let's run a campaign, right? Hey, we need to make an offer. Let's run some ads, right? Hey, we need to let our customers know that we're going to do a sales event. Right? So most businesses run from promotion to promotion to promotion, because without a plan, right, there's no long-term focus on growth, right? There's no trajectory or no momentum that is focused on outcome and on growth. And I can tell you, most small businesses do not have a plan. They just don't. And to me, this is why most businesses struggle. Even businesses that are around the $5 to $10 million mark, their plans are very basic, right? Most of their business most businesses generate their business from word of mouth. The majority of service-based businesses, the majority of businesses out there accept customers purely by the fact that previous customers had an experience and they get recommendations from previous customers, or they get referrals from previous customers. Most businesses live and breathe off referrals. In fact, I would have to actually say that I would say between 30% and 50% is the referral rate, word of mouth. That is a very large chunk of business. That's a very large chunk of business, right? But there's no system to generate, no system for referrals. If there's no system for referrals, they happen haphazardly. randomly, right? So your business is left to the lap of the gods. You've got no control. But if 30 to 50%, that's a big chunk of revenue. And this is where the balance of the business comes from. The balance of business comes from promotions, right? Actively, just randomly, hey, let's run this discount. Let's make this offer, right? That's what most businesses do. Very reactive, not very proactive, right? So if we were looking at a business right now, and I'm just going to go down to a diagram, right? The napkin pitch, right here. If we were looking at a business and they were sitting there saying, hey, I got problems. Don't have a plan, don't have KPIs, you can actually flag this. Hey, have you set targets, budgets? Do you have KPIs for measurement? And do you have an actual plan that you can execute on right now to get said result for your business? That is an offer, a question you can make to anybody in the market. Hey, I'm talking to business owners about 3 key things. Do you have a plan? Do you have a target set? Do you have KPIs so you can monitor and measure? Right? Is everybody aware who's responsible to make that a relevant business? Are they aware of that? And is that something you're engaging right now? I'll guarantee you, I'll count on my hand the number of businesses I can go out to. They'll say, yep, we've got those 3 things. Most businesses don't. So my next question is, if we had a target, we had KPIs, and we had a plan, do you think we'd get there faster? Do you think we'd actually get the desired result that you're looking for faster, right? So the person, this is the client, your client, right? Your client, sad face, has some problems, right? The number one problem that most businesses have right now is they need, well, it's actually 2. There's 2 problems, right? The 2 problems they need is relevancy. They've got to be relevant. And they've got to be visible. If they're not relevant and they're not visible, they're not making money. Most businesses who aren't relevant and aren't visible aren't acquiring customers, right? So another question is, right now, is what you're offering relevant to where the market's at right now? Is what you're offering relevant to where the market's at? Question, right? And most people won't be able to answer that question. They'll think, well, I think so, right? So a very quick litmus test to see if a business is relevant and visible is, where are you at, right? So if we're here today, right, where are you at? Are you tracking, staying on, survival mode, right? Are you survival mode? Are you drifting? Or are you trending? Right? Are you in survival mode, trying to hang in there? Are you drifting down? Are you noticing a drift down? Or are you trending? Are you moving up, right, in the market? Which of the, you can't be in 2 places at any one time. You're only going to be one of 3. So if you're here, right, if that's where you are, you're dying. You're dying. You die, right? You die here. If you're here, you die, right? But if you're here, you're growing. You live. You stay stagnant, you're going backwards. If you're drifting down, you're going backwards. If you're trending, you're moving up, you're growing. There's only 2 places you can be, right? Growing or dying. The majority of businesses that are in this category here, right? They are going out the door. The market is adapting far too quickly for them to sustain any idea of survival, right? Most businesses are taking maintenance survival mode tactics, like just trying to hang in there. Most of these businesses will not last. They will not go. So there's only one sort of business going to grow, a business that actually is putting in plans, systems, structures, tracking, measuring, taking pragmatic focus to grow their business, right? Those are the things that you want to be talking to business owners. Are you trying to hang in there? Are you drifting down, or are you trending, right? If you're trending, then you want to make sure that you're capitalizing on that trend, right, as part of that process. So where are they now, right? Are they relevant? Are they visible? This this means these two markers here, 1 and 2, you are neither relevant or visible, right? If you're hanging in there and you're trending down or drifting down, you're not relevant and you're not visible. Because if you're visible, it means you're actively engaging in the market. If you're not actively engaging the market, how can anybody buy? You're going to be relying on this idea that we talked about earlier on of referrals. Now, right now, last time I checked, we're still in a pandemic. Referrals are kind of out the window, right? Referrals have dropped dramatically. If referrals have dropped dramatically, how do you pick up the slack? How do you pick up the surplus in what you do? That's the question, right? So a lot of people, that's a big problem. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is to give you context. These are the types of conversations that I have with business people all the time. I ask them questions like, how's things going? Are you here, or here, right? You have targets. You've got some KPIs in place and measurements that you're actually tracking, forecasting on, right? Do you have a plan, right? As part of that process. Is it a fluid plan? One that you can make an adjustments on, get feedback, make improvements, right? If you don't have those things, how are things going for you? You're surviving or you're drifting down. If you are trending up, my question is, why? Why are you trending up? Because there's something that's going on that's allowing you to have that growth trajectory, right? Maybe you're in a market that there is a high demand for. You're in a niche that there is a demand. And so by the sheer nature of the fact that there's a demand, you just happen to be in front of the freight train of the market, right? But here's the thing. Right now, I know that if there are markets that are underserved, there are gaps that are being opened up, right? If there are markets that are underserved, there are gaps that are being opened up. Right. So what is the journey, going back to the faces over here, right? What is their journey to getting what they're looking for, which is hiring you, right? Number one, they need to understand that there's a problem, right? Number two, they've got to be looking, right? They're in the looking zone. They're looking for options. They're looking for ideas, right? Right now, there's activity, so they're investing, right, in marketing. They're doing something, right? They're already doing something. This predicates them to being an ideal prospect, right? But what they're doing is mixed results, right? So at some point, you're going to go, stop, right? We need to do things differently, right? Do different, right? And the next question is how? Or actually, the next question is who? Who's going to help, right? Who helps? This little map of here to here, right, is like the buyer's journey, right? I got a problem, I got to solve this thing, because the longer this problem occurs, or the more money I throw at this problem, the more expensive it gets, the more of a problem it becomes. But I need to know that I've got a problem. Some people don't know they've got a problem until it's too late, especially in business. Some businesses don't know they've got a challenge and a problem until it's too late, right? So if I'm going to pick a random business, and let's say, I'm going to pick a HVAC business because I've got Johnny Odell. He's an HVAC specialist. So I might as well pick the HVAC business, Johnny. But I'm happy to answer questions along the way to help you to apply the same sort of strategy, right? So one of the things that I would do is sit down with the client and say, listen, if we know that there's a challenge right now, what is the impact of that challenge costing you financially? If there was a way to fix that and turn it into a positive outcome, what is the impact of that positive outcome? And if the positive outcome is the right impact that you're looking for, then I guess the idea would be to put this plan into place. So let's break down, right, what's going on. So Johnny, I'm not going to ask you to unmute, but I'm going to have a two-way conversation with you without having a two-way conversation. So all you need to do is nod or give me a yes or a no, right? Or a thumbs up or a thumbs down, right? That'll do, right? But ultimately, if I'm in the HVAC market, my doors are open. I need inquiries, right? So I need to have those phones ring, and I want to sell a certain thing. I want to sell anywhere between a $10,000 or a $15,000 air conditioning unit if I was targeting the residential market, air conditioning and heating. 12 to 15 grand, right? If I was commercial, I'm looking for bigger projects. But let's deal with a domestic person. Thumbs up, domestic, 12 to 15 grand. Yes, yep, okay. So the average sale I know is 12, 15 grand. But if I was talking to an air conditioning guy, the air conditioning guy was sitting there saying, yeah, well, you know, we need to quote, right? How does an air conditioning person sell air conditioning and heating? They have to actually do a measure and quote, right? They've got to look at the space that they've got to cool down. That's going to determine the size of the unit that they put into the home. They've also got to look at the fact that where they've got logistical areas within a home that they can utilize to maximize the ability to cool and heat the home in the circumstances that they're in. So I've got to have a measure and quote. I can't do this with a measure and quote. I can't just say it's going to cost you 12 grand for an air conditioner, and then you've got a house that's like 4,000 square feet. Well, that's going to cost you $25,000 for that air conditioner as opposed to a home that's 1,500 square feet, right? So I've got to do a measure and quote. How do I get clients? I do a measure and quote. Once I do a measure and quote, right, we make sure they've got the right unit. We talk about how we install it, and the customer is going to make a decision based on the relationship and the value, right, that this company or this HVAC company is going to deliver, right, to that person. That's how they're going to buy. So how do I buy air conditioner? I need an air conditioning heating unit. I'm going to do searches on Google. I'm going to go to perhaps see if there's a friend of mine who's an air conditioning specialist. I start looking, and I'm going to look at more than one person, right? I might even go to a service like Home Advisor or a directory. I might even look at Yelp, right? To get reviews on local markets. I might just do a local search, but I'm not going to go to one air conditioning company. I'm going to go to several, right? So what are some of the challenges, right? Shared leads. I share my leads with other people, right? Another problem is I don't get enough opportunities. Not enough opportunities. Another problem is the quality. The quality of the people that come to us aren't the right person, right? So the lack of quality. So quality. Bad leads, right? Price shoppers. We get a lot of people who are price shopping us. So they don't seem to be serious, right? These are probably 4 of the most common challenges that most air conditioning companies have in acquiring customers. They're sharing the leads with a whole bunch of other air conditioning companies through aggregator websites. They don't get enough opportunities. They're just not attracting or getting enough phone inquiries. Sometimes that could be a seasonal thing. Sometimes that could be a weather event. Sometimes, so there's no, like, the phones aren't ringing actively all the time. So there's just not enough opportunities, right? The quality, the people who are calling perhaps aren't the right people. Maybe the promotion we're doing or how they're finding us, they're not actually getting their questions answered in a way that we're directing them to what they need to be seeing, right? So they don't know what to ask. They're just looking for somebody to help out with air conditioning. And so there's no ability for us, unless we have that conversation, to be able to qualify them to see if they're ready to buy, if they're in the market to buy an air conditioning unit. So quality of the lead or quality of the opportunity is an issue, right? And the price shoppers. People are going to go to 3 or 4 air conditioning companies, get 3 or 4 quotes, and sometimes, and this is the how somebody buys, right, is they're going to buy based on relationship, on trust, and on value, the price, right? Relationship, trust, value, right? Most people want a good value deal. They want the best value, right? They're not going to buy the cheapest. They don't necessarily want to buy the cheapest. They want the value. They want to feel the know, like, and trust. If they don't have the know, like, and trust factor, if they're going to buy the cheapest, they always end up paying. Most people know that if I buy the cheapest thing, always will bite me in the ass. It will end up costing me more if I get it done cheap, right? So there are, by the way, There are 10% of the marketplace. It doesn't matter what you do. They are always going to look for the cheapest deal. They have no compulsion. That's all they want. They want the bargain. They don't want anything else. They're not interested in anything else. They just want the cheapest price possible. About 10% of the market, right? 10% of the market don't care. They want the best. 1 in 10 people, it's not so much about the money. It's about the quality, the reliability, the fact that I've got the best, right? There's a whole bunch of other values that they have over and above the price. In fact, price probably fits around 4 or 5 or level 6 around the decision-making process. So about 10% of the market will always buy the most expensive product category. 80% of the market has a perception of value. 80% of the market knows if they spend a little bit more, they're going to get a little bit better than what they would if they went to the cheapest in the outcome. So if we know that 80% of the market wants value, right, is willing to pay a little bit more, then we need to, one way we need to do this is take ourselves out of the price shopping equation, right? So these are 4 problems. I'm sure there are other problems that I could articulate, Johnny, in the HVAC market, but these are probably the biggest 4 problems that most HVAC companies have, right? Sharing my leads, not enough opportunities. The quality of the lead that I'm getting isn't that great. The price, I've also got a lot of price shoppers. The one thing that I'll also say, and this is more about business owners or businesses rather than the customer, that most businesses don't have an optimized sales process. This is a big failure. This thing here costs most businesses money because it doesn't matter how much marketing and advertising you do, but if you don't have an optimized sales process, you'll die. If you don't have an optimized sales process, you'll die. And this is something I would highlight to a business owner. Do you have it? Because if you got 30 inquiries, my question is, how quickly do you handle those inquiries? My next question is, what is your process to ask the right questions to validate, to see if the person's in the right space to buy the client? Do you have a system for doing that, right? The next question is, what is the process that you give them the logical next step in the helping of them buying? Do you have a process to help them take the next logical step, right? Do you do that? Most businesses will say they think so, but they don't. You're either got a defined process or you don't. Most businesses operate the same way, right? I was sitting down in the office, in fact, with a heating and air conditioning company. I remember a few years back, and I was sitting down, and this is a company that I know the owner, was a friend of a friend. We were just having a candid conversation, not unlike having this napkin conversation, right? And I was just asking, I said, listen, and whilst I was there, he was taking sales calls, right? So I was just going to be in the office, and whilst I was there, he just happened, because the phones are busy, the phones would reroute in the office and eventually end up with him. It means that other salespeople are busy, and so he would be actually accepting some sales calls, right? So I'm sitting in the office, and he picks up the phone, and somebody inquires and said, "Hey, I need to know the price for, a system's broken down. We need to replace the system. How much is a new system?" Right? And so cleverly enough, he said, "Well, let me ask you a few questions to make sure we've got the right system, because we've got the home, the floor space, the volume of the area, the ceiling height, all that sort of stuff has to take into consideration. That's going to determine the type of system that you need to buy. Do you mind if I take you through ask you a few questions to give you the best possible value? That's what you're after." They go, "Yep, that's what I want." And so he did the right thing by sitting there saying, "Hey, let's make sure you get the right thing, and then make sure you're paying the right amount for the thing that you say you want," rather than saying, "Well, air conditioning units start at X amount of dollars, and they go to this amount of dollars," without seeing your house. How many bedrooms have you got? An average 3-bedroom home, the price of an air conditioning unit is $10,000, right? And they'll go, "Thanks for that," boom, gone, right? That's generally what happens, okay? But instead of doing that, he asked some questions, and then he put some, he had his quoting sheet, right? So he literally quoted on the spot, and his quoting sheet there in front of him, and then he gave that person a price. So basically, this is what you're looking at. These are the things you need to be aware of. If you're going to go elsewhere, you need to ask these questions, right? I know I'm not going to be the first cab off the rank, right? But we can get this job installed on this date or this date, whichever date suits you best. This is what it takes to get this done. We require initial installment of deposit to get this thing going. Here it is. I'm going to email you those details. And then he said this thing: you let me know what you want to do. You let me know what you want to do, which meant that he was not going to follow up that sale, right? So right there, there's a couple of places that his sales process was broken. First of all, actually really qualifying the customer to see if they can handle the payments. Do they have the finances and the funds to do this right now, right? If they're going to make a decision. He didn't ask them that, right? He just said, give me a price. And he gave him a price. The second thing, he sat there and said, do this, go away, see if you can beat my price with someone else. That's essentially what he was telling that customer to do. Go away, get your price together, and if you're interested, let me know. No follow-up. And so he hung up the phone, said, oh, sorry about that. And by the way, this conversation was only like 2 or 3 minute conversation. It wasn't a very long conversation at all, right? So I got off the phone and we continued the conversation. I said, how many of those do you get to do every day? And he said, well, the phones, we spend a lot of money on advertising and stuff like that. The phones get pretty busy. I probably do this maybe 5 or 6 times through the day where I have to, the thing routes and I just happen to pick it up 5 or 6 times a day. So you tell people 5 or 6 times a day to get back to you if they want to go ahead with this. So if we did this over a week, right, that's 25 people over a 5-day period on average. Over the course of the month, that's 100 people that you have said to, hey, when you're ready, you just come back to me. What would happen if we followed up, even if we send an email and say, hey, would you like to go ahead? Right? Not you picking up the phone and following up, but just sending an email saying, hey, thanks for inquiring. By the way, we can book your job in here, or if you want to, book the time when you want our people to show up and pick a time, and then we can take it here. And then here's how you get payment. So you can pay the installment here, right? So give them directions, tell them what you need to do, and ask them, would they like to go ahead, right? Because you're busy, you're not going to pick that up. Or wouldn't it be great if you could just make sure, and are you using a CRM? No. Spreadsheet. I said, how many of these have you done? Well, they're in my email. Right. So in the course of a month, there will be 100 opportunities sitting in the email. Right. This speaks to that most businesses do not have an optimized sales process. If you just automated that one little piece, right, without having to pick up the phone and speak, how many air conditioning units would he have sold? Right. Would he have got 4 or 5, maybe 10 people out of the 100 that he quoted? Even if I would say my guess would have been at least 3 to 5. Would say yes. Well, 3 to 5 people is $30,000 to $50,000 in cash to the business, right? But he didn't do that. He didn't know. And I asked him, how many of these people bought? I have no idea. Well, go check the last month and just see. You don't check. Go and get your salesperson to go and check your emails, the quotes you did last month, and go and match them up with the orders that were made. And this will give you an idea of how many people came back and ordered from you. Because if you don't know, we've got a problem. And by the way, this business I was talking to, they were running about a $7-8 million operation. They weren't a small, they were a decent business, right? $7-8 million, and they didn't know their conversion rates off this methodology. My thing is, the cool thing about this, I guarantee you, this was the owner of the business. I guarantee you that the salesperson was doing exactly what the owner taught him to do. So it's not just the 100 opportunities that he has lost in a month. What about the hundreds of opportunities that the salespeople are losing in a month, right? This is, and this conversation all of a sudden sparked the things that, oh my God, this is terrible, right? Like this is a bad thing, right? So if we know that this is a problem, right, I want to highlight that problem, right? So what's the framework? How do we fix this problem? Because the scenario that we need to look at is there are 3 things that have to happen to solve this problem, right? Number 1, we need to have a system that attracts buyers, right? You need to have a system that attracts buyers, right? Number 2, you've got to qualify. You've got to manage the leads, right? You've got to manage and qualify, right? So if we attract them, then we need to manage them and qualify, and then we need to close them. We need to convert them. That's what we need to do. So we need to attract, we need to manage and qualify, and we need to convert them, right? Now, we can either do this manually or we can do this automatically, right? So what would happen if we're painting the picture of the scenario, saying, hey, we want to bring people in and we want to make sure we're attracting buyers, so we need a strategy, right? We need a system to work this. So what would the system be, right? And maybe this is the we'll call it the client acquisition system, right? The client acquisition system, the CAS, the CAS, right? The CAS, right? So what does the client acquisition system kind of need to do to make it work? First of all, we've got to come up with an offer. We need an offer that converts. That's the first thing we need. We need an offer that converts, right? Because we've got to attract the attention, put it out there that converts to the inquiry. So we need to build a strategy that walks the customer through what they need to do, what are the steps they need to do to buy our system, right? We need an offer that converts, right? Number two, we need to optimize the offer, right? So we need to make sure that we've got the systems that we're optimizing the campaign if we're going to run, and let's say that our solution, our framework revolves around Facebook ads, right? Right, that's the Facebook ads, right? So we've got an offer that converts. We need to optimize the actual offer, so we actually make sure that we've got a system that's making sure that the offer is being placed in the right places, seen by the right people. We've got an audience. We've got a strategy to do that, right? The next piece in the puzzle is we need to, let's just go in this direction. We need to, the next piece of the puzzle is we need to be able to manage the lead, right? We've got to manage the lead, right? This might be a CRM of some kind, right? This might be opt-in, a zap into a database like an autoresponder system, like a CRM, but we've got a lead management system. So every lead gets a couple of things, right? This lead management system might send an email. It might do a text message. It might, what else might it do? It might do a voice connect, call connect, right? Right? You might have a system that records a phone call, right? So this system, this lead management system, every lead is managed. Every lead is responded to, is given the directions, the next step, right? The whole idea is to help the person to book a scheduled appointment or a call with an estimator, right? So the next step is scheduling, right? As part of that system. And then we have a system, like we said, this person said, hey, we don't follow up any of these 100 odd opportunities in a month, but we need a system to follow up. So we've got a system, an offer that converts, an optimized campaign, an optimized strategy. It's into managing the lead over here. We're managing the leads. And then what happens when the lead's managed? Like an email goes out, a text message, voice connect, record the phone call because the person picks up the phone and calls. But the idea is it takes the person to the next logical step, and that is to schedule an appointment. Right? And then from here, after you've had the appointment, you want to have some sort of follow-up in the process. Right? So if we had right now over here, problem, we don't have this system. We don't have this framework, right? Because if we did, we wouldn't have these problems. If we did, we would not have these problems, right? But if we've got a framework, right, we now have a system, a client acquisition system, a CAS, right, that's helping us with the outcome. So now what are the outcomes? If we had a system that did this, what would happen, right? Well, for starters, our sales process would be automated. We would actually have KPIs, right? We have a database. Every lead is managed. Right? Every lead's managed. We have the ability to track ROI. Right? We also now have automated follow-up. So we have conversion systems. All right. So my question is, thinking about what I went back to a moment ago, this is the problem, right? We're sharing the leads, not enough opportunities, the price shoppers, not an optimized sales process. Putting some numbers to this, the business I spoke to, right? Unless they can actually go back and check from all the offers they made to who actually bought, I would actually say they probably had a conversion rate of about 20%, right? So out of 100 people, and let's say out of 10, so 2 in 10 probably bought. That would be my safe bet that's what would have happened with that business. Safe bet at least 20%, right? That means 80% of the people who were never followed up didn't buy from them. That means that for every 10 people, right, that this business was selling to, they were losing $80,000. For every 8 people that didn't buy, that's how much money. That was their thing that was called opportunity cost, right? If they closed one more deal, right, one more deal, that's $120,000 a year added to the business. One more deal per month, not 10, not 20, 1, right? So my thing would be, and this is where we go into a close of the napkin close. If I map this out for a person, I know my diagram is not very sexy, right? If I map this out for a person, my close would be very simple. Right now, you are here, right? We know your worst case scenario is costing you 80 grand in opportunities, and your worst case scenario is you're losing 10K per month. That's 120 grand a year, right? Now, if I was to say to you right now, we know that this is happening, but if we were to implement this system here, if we were to implement this outcome, what do you think? I don't have to answer the question. I'm just going to ask the question there. What do you think is going to happen, right? You're going to be able to track, forecast, measure. You're going to have a system that you're actually going to see. You're going to know the numbers, the very thing that the lifeblood of your business. You're actually going to have a very tangible and very practical handle and control over your business in doing this, because you can always improve the elements of all these things, because if we can improve them, we can make the numbers better. So my question to you is, with this outcome, you don't have the system. What would happen if we implemented the CAS system? If you had these outcomes for your business, what would happen to your business? They're going to say, my business is going to fly. Not a person on the planet will say that my business will fail if I put these things into place. They say, right now, I don't have these things. Right now, yeah, right. If I can measure, track, improve, I'm going to get better results. This is going to have an impact on this is going to have a positive impact on my business, right? Your worst case scenario is you pick up an extra 120K. That's your worst case scenario, right? But I know that you're going to do more than that, because for every 100 people you bring into the business that are inquiring, you've also got sales. Remember this follow-up system, right? Remember this database that we're building down here? You can retarget and remarket the people who are already interested in your offer. Database, retarget, remarket. If we were only targeting and advertising to interested customers, what do you think is going to happen? These people know who you are, they know your offer, they might not buy today, but they'll buy within the next 3 to 6 months. If we re-engage them, without this system, that's not going to happen, right? Without this system, that's not going to happen. But with the system, now we've already spent the money. Now we've got an opportunity. What would be the impact? Question, right? Question mark. Would be the impact, right? Big question mark. They're going to say it's going to be better than what we've got right now. So my question to them is really simple. Do you want to build this system? Do you want to build this CAS, this framework? Do you want to build that? Or would you like my help to put this into place so we can track, measure, monitor, and get the results, right? It's a yes or no 50-50 question. I'll guarantee you that 90% of the people, if you show this to them, are going to turn around and say to you, yeah, how's it going to, how can you help us do this? 90% of the people you ask this question of, if you've gone through this path, right, you've got two choices. You can do this all yourself internally. Have you got the capability? Do you have the understanding? Right now you're not doing this. Is this something you can get all your team to do for you? The automation, the setup, the campaign, the offer, you got people like that? No, right? So what if we could actually use my people who do this all day long? Would you like to see what it looks like to use our people to implement this system? Because at the end of the day, we want this system to pay for itself. And the impact of this is going to be ever growing. Remember, right now, we don't have this system, right? So where are we going to be with this system? Are we going to be hanging in there? Are we going downwards or are we going upwards? Right? If you're here now or you're here now, where do you think you'll be by putting this system? Put a mark on the page, right? And they're going to go, we're going to be here, right? So my question is, what do you think we should do? And they're going to go, I don't know, you tell me. Or they're going to go, okay, so what does it look like to put this into place? They're going to ask you the question. They're going to put themselves into the buying zone with you, right? And that's how you use this strategy, this napkin strategy, right? It's a pretty simple formula: problem, framework, outcome. What's going on right now? You need to understand that you've got to ask the questions around the impact. How's this impacting your business right now? You're getting 100 inquiries. You don't know how many you're closing. Let's say your worst case scenario is 2 in 10. What would happen if you got 1 in 10? You're losing 8. Use the numbers. This is the power of this demonstration, is you actually put numbers to either ends of the problem and the outcome. Right? So I'm happy to answer some questions here. I'm just going to stop sharing for a second. Takeaway. Give me a thumbs up if you thought that was good. Right? Yeah. If you've got a question, please ask me a question, because I'm here to help you. Right? If you've got a question, just type it in the chat. I'm here to help you. The offer that I would make to people to get to the napkin conversation, my offer would be, hey, do you want to see a framework that actually converts, that actually is that is measurable and trackable, something that most businesses don't do with their marketing and advertising? I know this because I can see your ads right now and I know that you're not tracking properly, right? Can I share this idea with you? Can I walk you through this concept? It's really simple, right? By the way, the average conversation when you're doing this is probably between 15 and 30 minutes max. I know I've put in a little bit more in here because I've given you context and a little bit of understanding in this process. But the concept here is that generally the conversation is probably around 20 to 30 minutes. And that 20 to 30 minute conversation literally walks you into, okay, let's put a plan together and put this into place, right? Let's put a plan together and let's put this in place. If you've got a question, just type in the question in the chat. Richard, Drew, Mark, if you've got a question, Susan, if you've got a question, happy to answer it. Or if you've got a microphone, you can unmute and I can answer your question live while I'm here.
Hey, John, Howard.
I got you, Howard.
I presume you've done your qualification call before the napkin presentation.
No, I haven't. I've just randomly asked businesses, would you like to see a framework that gives you a direct ROI on acquiring customers? Would you like to see that? Yes or no? Like, I could offer this to anybody in business. It wouldn't matter. Do I want to qualify the person? I could, but here's the thing. If somebody doesn't have this right now, if I could very quickly assess the numbers in a 15-minute, 20-minute conversation, I could very quickly tell whether or not they're going to be a customer, right? I would go and invest my 15 to 20 minutes to figure it out if they want to do this. Because to set this up, you're probably going to charge, anywhere between 5 to 10 grand to set it up. And then you might be charging anywhere between 1,500 to 3 grand a month to manage it, right? Is what you're roughly going to be charging. Yeah. Now, if they in the HVAC idea or the air conditioning idea, they've got one sale is going to pay for this thing in gross profit. One sale. How many clients do you need that we can account for this in? We're going to track it with you. We can go. So at the end of the month, right? If I was sitting down with an aircon client and I had this system going, we had the leads and we could see what was going in that sales process, and we could know that you made 10 sales out of this, so you made 15 sales, right? You picked up $150,000. You invested 3 or 4 grand a month in our management fees. using our system to get those sales? Should we keep going? Should we increase the spend or the investment? Can we add to this process? Charge the client more, right? This for the first time, if you're articulating this correctly, you're allowing the customer to see a direct return on investment. They can't account for it any other way because it's being tracked by your system, your process, right? What most people do in the advertising world is they just run ads and they go, there's your leads. And they run a report, they go to the ad manager in Facebook or Google, take a snapshot and say, right, well, you know, we've got 150 clicks, we've got this many people watch the landing page, we saw this many opt-ins, there's your numbers, right? But there's no like, well, how many sales do we make out of that? Well, I don't know, you tell me. We don't know how many sales you made. So they're sitting there going to go and say, well, Jesus, we've got all these leads and we've got all these clicks, where did they go? Why didn't they buy, right? Well, that's because we don't have an optimized sales process, right? That's the biggest mistake that most people make. They can't track from inquiry to sale. And the reason why is they haven't set it up that way, right? So instead of going, if you're just providing leads, then clients are going to get tired of you very quickly. They're going to go, well, shit, I don't know if this is working or not working. I'm going to go to the cheapest guy. And then this guy, the cheapest guy, he can do exactly what you do. And we may or may not be making money, right? But unless I educate the client as to why they should be asking questions around this, and there's always, this is a business conversation. This is not you pitching or selling. This is a business conversation around, hey, this is how the system is broken right now. The system is broken because leads are not being managed, right? Inquiries aren't being handled in a way that makes it easy for the inquiry to make a sale. Inquiries are being directed to places where they can't take the next logical jump, and that is to buy your service. You're expecting them to do things when you should be making it easy for them. So my question often to people is, are you making it easy for people to buy? Yes or no? And they go, well, we think so. Well, what does think so look like, right? Let's have that conversation, right? I go to your website. What do you need? You need me to pick up the phone and call you, or do you want me to go direct to the page and buy the product? Well, no, I want you to pick up the phone. Okay, where's the phone number? Well, there's a little phone number on the right-hand side. Well, but there's all this real estate sitting right in front of my face here, right? And say, if you want this deal or the best deal, call this number now, right? And then the next panel is, this is how you get the best deal. Call this number now. And by the way, if you haven't got the message the first two times, call this number now. And then that number doesn't just go to a random place to handle the inquiry. That number is a dynamic number, one that is tracked. And on the other side of that is a call recording, right? Where we record the interaction between you and the customer. If you're handling inquiries or getting calls, if you don't have that system, you're wasting money. Because you'll be sitting and say, yeah, we get 150 phone calls, and yeah, we closed 6 deals today, right? Well, that's a terrible conversion rate. I would be concerned, right? Because to get 150 phone calls, you spend a lot of money. You know, the HVAC guy that I was mentioning, they were spending $24,000 a month, right? $24,000 a month, and they would average about 250 calls a week.
Yeah. What was your offer statement again? Would you be interested in seeing a framework with an ROI?
If there was a way, if you could get a customer acquisition system that showed you a direct return on investment for every dollar of marketing you make, and that gives you a positive growth in terms of clients and customers, is that something that would be useful to you? There's an offer.
Okay.
Johnny says, do you think they realize that using directories, they are using their framework? Why are they not building their own, and worse, they protect themselves? Yeah, look, because directories are easy. Directories are sitting there saying, well, we've got the traffic, right? We've got the people who come to our directory are looking for your service. You're not the only person on the directory. Like if you go to houzz.com, HOUZZ.com, there are 50 niches and there are 5 million businesses registered on houzz.com. Now I think it's the top 3 pages. The average business is paying $2,000 a month to be shown in that directory. So they're spending $24,000 a year just for a listing. right? Or they've got the other model where they pay per email, like Home Advisor, right? You go to Home Advisor, you say, I need a job done. They go to 3 or 4 providers in the market, and those 3 to 4 providers, each of them paid $60 for that email inquiry. Then it's a race to the phone as to who gets you first, right? But here's the thing, you get a lead from Home Advisor, and 2 days later, because they're billing you anyway, 2 days later, you decide to make a phone call. And the person says 1 or 2 things. Sorry, we've already done that. Or I don't know what you're talking about. We didn't make an inquiry, right? And they go, oh man, Home Advisor doesn't work, right? Or they go, well, and Home Advisor sells this. Well, Home Advisor says it's a numbers game. The faster you get to the person, right, the more opportunities you create, the more sales you're going to get, right? And the person goes, oh, that's logical. But very few people sit down and work out how much money they spend on Home Advisor, right? On average, just for an appointment, this is not for a sale. On average on Home Advisor, people are spending between $600 and $800 for a scheduled appointment. $600 to $800 for an appointment. But then they think, well, I'm on Home Advisor, right? It's a lead, yeah? But it's a lead that is shared by everybody else. So we need to educate people and say, listen, you want to drive traffic to you. You want to be first choice. Do you want to be a choice amongst many, or do you want to be first choice? That's the question, right? No, I want to be first shot I want to have first shot at this, right? I want to own the lead. I want to take first shot. Well, right now, Home Advisor doesn't allow you to own the lead, right? Or a directory doesn't allow you to own the lead. Your lead is shared. So, and people go, yeah, we buy leads all the time. So they're buying leads at $1 a lead or $2 a lead. They buy thousands of them. And they never follow them up. They'll go, well, we might make 1 in every 200, right? It's like it's a terrible system that they've got going on. Directories are great. If you have a system to manage directories, that works, right? Then you can look at then the idea is to minimize the cost of acquisition per appointment, right? Like if I get my $600 an appointment down to $200 an appointment, that's awesome, right? It means I'm going to talk to a lot more people, or I'm going to talk to people because I've got a process where I'm capitalizing or maximizing the opportunity with that directory. Yeah, most directories it's a race to the bottom. It's price driven. It's really funny. I use aggregator websites to hire services as well. When I had to move, I hired a moving company. So what I do, I went to a Home Advisor and said, I need a moving company, right? And so I put that ad out there. I got the person that called me, like within minutes, they got the job. But I proceeded over the next 3 days to get phone calls from other moving companies that have paid for my lead to say, hey, we can do it. Did you get somebody to move your stuff? Are you interested in the mover? I already got somebody. How much are they charging you? Well, this is what roughly I paid. Oh, we could have been cheaper, right? Too bad, too late, too sad. Yeah. So it's a race to the bottom. Do directories work? Yes, if you've got a system to manage a directory. The company that came to me where I put my offer in to get somebody to provide a service, that company won because they had a system to follow everybody up immediately. Like I literally within 2 minutes, I got a phone call, bang. Oh, right, thanks for the inquiry. Hey, you want to move? Yeah, I want to move. When do you want to move? Well, I'm looking at the state. Well, let me ask you a few questions and I can work out a deal for you so we can help you move. Are you cool with that? Yep, I'm cool with that. And then literally within 7 minutes, I paid a deposit, right? Like on the phone, they just texted it to me. Just hit the link, pay the deposit. Yep, great. So they took payment, right? On the day, at the end of the day, when the guys finish, you're going to pay the balance. And this is how you pay the balance, right? Are you all good with that? Yeah, I'm good with that. Great. Well, the guys will be there at X amount, this time, and away we go. And they were following me up, and they were conscientious, and so they had a system to optimize their ability to convert a lead through a directory. Other people, no, randomly call. I got calls 4 or 5 days later. I'd already moved. and they were calling me, right? And they, by the way, those people, every single one that called me 4 or 5 days later, they paid $60 for that phone call. $60 for a dud. So imagine how much money they're forking out just for emails, right? Just for emails. So this is where Home Advisor doesn't work, right? Because you're getting, it's a quoting game. I wasn't interested in the cheapest price. I needed help. I needed somebody to do it relatively quickly. I needed somebody to do it competently. I needed somebody who could help me get it done. That's all I needed. The price, they could give me a price, and I would say, yeah, that's a fair price. I wasn't looking for the cheapest person. I was just looking for somebody to get it done, right? Because before I hopped on Home Advisor, I rang moving companies directly. I did a Google search and I went, I picked up a few phones and like, no, I'm sorry, we can't do that. We can't do that. We can't. Oh, okay. You're busy, right? And I thought, this is ridiculous. Rather than me going out to them, I'm going to get them to come to me. So I just went and filled in a what we call high pages directory, need a mover, right, in the directory. So the numbers, what you need to be thinking about is how much does it cost you for an appointment? How much does it cost you for a sale? That's what I'll be looking at. My conversation with people say, listen, do you want to see a client acquisition system that's fully automated where you can actually measure your leads, you can measure the conversions, and you can manage the opportunity, build a database, retarget, remarket to only people who are interested in what you have to offer, and get them back on the phone or get them to sell your services? Is that something that would be useful to you? That's a pitch, right? If I could share that with you, if you gave me 15 minutes, 20 minutes, I could walk you through exactly what it looks like, right? Is this something that you want to do? At the end of the pitch, you can do this all yourself, or you want our team to do that, right? You're setting yourself up for a sale. Whenever I've had any one of these napkin conversations, the conversion rate's super, super high, super high. Yeah? So my offer is, do you want to see the system? 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 Yeah, that's it. I'll walk you through exactly what it looks like, right? This is going to be the best 15, 20-minute conversation you've ever had. Oftentimes we sit down when we talk to people, we discover hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of sales opportunities that aren't being captured right now. I would imagine that's a conversation that might be useful to you, yes or no. Who are we? What do we do? We essentially develop systems like this for businesses so that you're actually on that trajectory of growth rather than being static or declining. That's who we are. That's what we do, right? So does that help? If you've got any questions, anybody, Drew, Mark, Susan, Richard, if anybody else has any questions, just type in the chat. I'm happy to answer your question. Yeah.
Are you suggesting we send them via Facebook ads or phone calls?
What do you mean?
Well, in terms of getting these conversations going, are you suggesting or are you recommending Facebook ads or picking up the phone and just calling?
You can do a Facebook ad to do a lead ad. You can do a cheap lead ad to get people who are interested in having a look at the system. That's easy to do. For me, I'm always trying to race to get to, by the time I put an ad out and put the thing and they get the approval, 3 or 4 days have gone by. I'd rather just go and pick 5 or 6 businesses that are already running ads on Google and say, dude, you're running ads on Google, but I guarantee you that this and this and this is not happening. We need to talk. I'm going to give you a call and talk to you about it. The reason I'm reaching out to you is because I see that your system right now is crap, right? And I would imagine you don't want to crap. It's nothing worse than having a system that isn't working. So wouldn't it be cool if we had a framework that actually worked, that was logical, made sense, and you could actually see an ROI? Would it be worthwhile having that conversation, yes or no? Yeah. So I could have that. I could talk to 20 people in a day doing that. And out of 20 people, I could probably get 4 or 5 people who agree to have that conversation with me. And if I did that, and if I could teach somebody else to do that, which is not hard to do, right? Then I could have a bucket load of appointments for my business. Yeah.
And you,
but
you
first of all,
also,
if I need clients, this is something that I would do. I don't need a slide deck. I understand how businesses work. My question is to ask them around how do they acquire their customers, right? Well, if I know how we acquire them, what's not working right now? Where are you? Are you static? Are you growing? Or are you drifting down? Right? Well, we're static or we're kind of drifting, right? This time last year, are you 20 to 30% up on this time last year? Are you at the same level of last year or are you down, right? Where are you? Well, if you're down, you've got a problem. If you're at level, you've got a problem, right? When somebody says to me, John, we want to, we're not actively like looking to grow right now. We just want to maintain. So what you're telling me is you're actively looking to go out of business because your competition is growing. They're not sitting there going, oh, you're maintaining, we'll maintain our market too. No, they see you maintenance mode, they're going to go and take your customers. right? The market only moves in, in terms of growth, there's only one direction for growth, right? And if you maintain, you're actually going backwards. You're not going forward. I've had this conversation with so many people, and I say that's a recipe for disaster. Because essentially what's going to happen this month, you're going to go backwards, and next month you're going to go backwards, and next month, no growth. And no growth means no extra revenue, no extra profit, right? Your costs don't go down, your costs go up. Yeah. Yeah. So for those of you, Richard, Mark, Susan, Drew, and Howard, I'm just going to share my screen here again. We are this Thursday holding 2-day, what we call a web event for good. It is focused on helping you to run a campaign, go actively engage clients, work a 100 deal flow or work a 100 lead deal flow method into your business. It's 2 days, 4 hours each day. And we also give you a bunch of training resources. The ticket for the event, it's at consultingunleashedlive.com. If you want to scan the QR code with your phone, it'll take you directly to the page. It's $97. The $97 is raising money for 3 specific charities. Every ticket will have a huge impact on multiple family lives. One child, we're going to pay for the education for an entire year for one child. We're going to put 3 homes that are going to have fresh, clean water pumped into their homes. And we are going to plant 20 tangerine trees for a farmer to raise funds for his family. So every $97 ticket is going to do the world some good. But in return, I want to actually do your business a world of good as well. I want to focus on actually running a real live campaign at the event where we're going to go and get clients. We're going to be sharing systems, processes, and tactics and strategies on how to maximize your ability to convert clients. I'm going to walk you through a disqualification and qualification process to make sure that you eliminate all the objections that people have to the service you provide. It's a sales process. And I'm going to walk you through exactly what I would do to close the client, collect money on a sales pitch. So for those who want to join me, if you go to consultingunleashedlive.com, you can scan the actual barcode there. It'll take you to that website. It's a $97 ticket. There's also a bonus training section you'll get access to. This is a portal where we teach you how to get paid for your strategy sessions, teach you how to leverage your sales opportunities, and more importantly, how you can actually, I guess, position yourself more effectively in the market and set yourself apart from your competitors. So for $97, you get a lot of resources, but there's 2 days with me, 2 days with others around the world who are focusing on the one thing that they should be focusing on, and that is to acquire customers, to help those clients to invest as much money as possible in your services, and more importantly, to keep those clients on as long as possible. So I'm going to share with you the tactics and the strategies at work. Some of the stuff that my champions that I work with are going to be shared in this training. Many people have attended. Howard's attended this. Johnny O'Dell's also attended these. The information I'm sharing in here is updated and new. There's a lot of fresh information, but the goal is to help you get focused, get clear, and more importantly, go and generate some clients. So if you want to join me in a few days' time, it's $97 for a ticket. If you go to consultingunleashedlive.com, you'll be able to access it from there. Or if you've got a phone, you can scan that QR code. It'll take you directly to that website. And your $97 is going to do some good to the world. At the same time, it's a very small investment for access to me. Now, we're not inviting hundreds of people to this event. It's going to be fairly intimate. So this basically is why I want a lot of people to have an opportunity to get as much as they can out of being part of this process. So with that, I want to thank you for hanging with me. I hope this has been useful and helpful to you, giving you some ideas and giving you some insights. I am going to be here tomorrow, same time, same channel. In fact, I think I might be an hour earlier purely because I've got some things happening. So I think I'll be on at 4 p.m. PST as opposed to 5 p.m. PST. Keep an eye on the posts, the Facebook post. There'll be one going out tomorrow to share. And tomorrow I'm going to be talking about profit and pricing models. Profit and pricing models is probably where I'm going to go to. This is the idea to leverage your revenue per client, and some of the things that you could be doing, some of the things you could be selling right now that you're not selling or getting paid for, that you can have in your agency model. So with that, I want to thank you for hanging with me. If you want to join me, go to consultingunleashedlive.com. buy your ticket for $97. You're going to do the world some good. And at the same time, you're going to be doing your business some pretty awesome things as well. I'm going to give you access to thousands of dollars worth of training, but more importantly, 2 4-hour sessions with me from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. PST, Pacific Standard Time. They are 4-hour sessions. And what we're doing is real pragmatic implementation. This is not where you sit there and you learn a whole bunch of stuff. We're actually going to be doing the stuff that we're learning in real time. More importantly, getting some feedback and moving towards results. So if you want to join me, access the bonus, do some good in the world, go to consultingunleashedlive.com, $97 for a ticket for good, and I will see you on Thursday and Friday, March 25th, 26th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. PST. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging with me. I hope this has been helpful and useful. Love to see you at the live event. Take care, everybody.